We are what? We are who? We are what? Vibrant. We are who? 50 plus. Hi, welcome to Gray Lives on the Rise. I am your host, Professor Jamila Franklin, and we are coming to you from Oyende Enterprises, being sponsored by Jamila Sense, which is our product line of aromatherapy products that helps heal the mind, body, and soul. And we are bringing to you Alamaj's rebirthing program, as well as Jamila Sense, and a host of wonderful programs that will help heal your body, heal your soul, and heal your mind. 50 plus people, we are here to stay. Gray Lives on the Rise. We are what? We are who? We are vibrant, and we are here to stay. Join us for our wonderful episodes. Thank you, and continue to look for our episodes weekly, being brought to you again from Oyende Enterprises and Jamila Sense. See you soon. Greetings, everyone. How are you? This is another wonderful episode of Great Lives on the Rise. And you know, I have to sport my wonderful, wonderful shirt that we have. Okay. And we have the beautiful Coach Greta, and she has her Great Lives on the Rise mug.
I do. I love tea, so that's perfect for my tea.
Yes, yes, yes. It's perfect. Okay. So Reverend Coach Greta Counts, who is a near and dear friend of mine. I just love her, love her, love her, love her. And the title of this talk is Mirror Work Works and the Power of Self-Love. I've had my clients buy this wonderful book. It's a 21-day program, and it works. Okay, it works. Works. Greta Counts is the Chief Empowerment Officer and founder of the Center for Self-Awareness. Her career in consulting, training, and coaching in the personal growth and professional development field spans more than 25 years. Affectionately known as Coach Greta, she's a passionate thought leader, transformational speaker, and talent developer who empowers individuals, teams, and organizations to change their behavior from within the self. That's where it begins, within. Okay. She offers innovative coaching methods and lifestyle management techniques that empowers others to transform their stress into strength. She teaches evidence-based wellness skills to help others meet their highest potential. And she is dedicated to building the mental and emotional well-being of humanity to help create a more emotionally intelligent community, workforce, and world. I can attest to that because I was a client of hers, and she does amazing work, amazing work. She's just phenomenal, phenomenal. Greta received her bachelor's from Georgia State University with a concentration in organizational theory and behavior. She is licensed in metaphysics with Emerson Theological Institute. She is a licensed and accredited powerhouse workshop facilitator and certified coach supporting clients in sales, entrepreneurship, and life. An Atlanta native who once called Brooklyn her home, Coach Greta is a mother of beautiful 33-year-old twin daughters and enjoys roller skating, salsa dancing, waterfall hiking, painting, and photography. Welcome, my dear, dear friend. I love you to the moon and back. And you know, let me tell you something. This woman here is aging backwards. She sent me 2 pictures because we always use pictures in our promotional materials. Why? Because we're organized like that. And we're professional. Okay, we're not in the basement just pulling something together. No, we don't do that. And that second picture, I told her, I can't use that. I said, girl, please. You look younger than your 33-year-old daughters. I can't. People will ask me, why do you have this young teeny popper, Jamila, being promoted? So I had, And the top one had her looking only slightly older, but she's aging backwards. Okay. with all the wonderful things that she does, and she is just a powerhouse. Powerhouse. Petite powerhouse. Without further ado, hello, my dear friend. How are you?
Hello, Professor Jamila. I am so happy to be here with you. When you had your Blog Talk Radio show, it was so great and you were so successful with it. And so when I saw that you were doing this, I thought, wow, I want to work with you and be a part of what you're doing because you're an excellent interviewer and you do great with that. So yes, I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you here because you're just amazing. You have affected the lives of so many people, and some of my clients have referred to you because I said that you could take them to another level. I would take them and massage them, metaphorically to get to a certain point. But then you have to know as a therapist when your work is done and when to refer people to other people. And everyone that I referred to you has been so transformed. So let's talk about Coach Greta. And I like to use her name. Her name is Greta. And I said, the great Greta. I just changed the letters around. So what started you on this journey? And her twin daughters, I tell them all the time that I allowed the mom to carry them because they're really my daughters. So what inspired you to go on this journey? Because I know this woman is so amazing. She has integrated the right brain and the left brain because she has a strong background in terms of I think math and she likes that. And then she's holistic in the humanistic area too. So they're just coming together like this, which is kind of rare. Most people can't have that kind of integration. So tell me about little Greta. And,
Okay.
and then we'll bring people all the way up to the amazing work that you're doing now. What was she?
What was she like? She was an only child who was very idealistic and very in tune with nature. I've always been a nature girl. And I can remember when I was young and I didn't want to have an imaginary friend like a lot of people did who were only children. So I decided to be friends with the girl in the mirror. So I can
Oh,
remember as far back as 5 years old when I asked the girl in the mirror if she would like to be my best friend. And little did I know years later that that mirror technique was something I had been using all my life. I hadn't thought about it until I wrote the book. So, but every day when I would go off to school, I would say, talk to her about my day, what was going to happen and what I was looking forward to. And every day when I got home, I would talk to her about what happened. If I was sad, I would talk to her about that. And if I was happy, I would talk to her about that. But I felt so consoled and so connected to this image in the mirror. And of course, I prayed a lot, I prayed a lot. And I was always outdoors, nature girl, playing in the grass and, bringing stuff home. My mother would say, put that stuff outside. I'd come home with leaves and tree branches and frogs and, whatever there was. But I had completely forgotten that I had been doing that for so long. And I would always confer to her about everything. And I learned to trust her and I learned to look to her when I was afraid. And I looked to her when things went well as well. So I had completely forgotten about that for so many years until after my 50s. And I realized that I had been formulating this beautiful relationship with the girl in the mirror,
wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And when I see you, you exude confidence, you exude whatever it's meant to. I said, you could just, and you don't even say it. You never say it. It just comes from your energy field. And so I was gravitated towards that. And the compassion and the professionalism and all of that. So let's talk about when you went to college? Because I know that you were interested in math, I think, as well, in engineering, I believe.
Yeah,
And then,
yes, so, yes, I had a scholarship to Georgia Tech and a few other schools, Howard University and some others, who was interested in me because of my math and science background. I loved physics and I loved chemistry and I loved all types of math. And so for 2 years, I went to Georgia Tech. But I did not like the lack of connection with people because, as you can imagine, in the 80s, who was there in the math and science fields were
yeah,
males and also no African Americans. And so
right,
it felt unnatural for me and I didn't like it, although I made great grades and all of that, but I wanted the human component.
right,
So I transferred to Georgia State. And when I got there, I had a hard time figuring out what to major in because it was more a business school and law school and school for nursing. And so I went through an iteration of majors, management information systems, computer information systems. We were trying to find a good mix of where I could get the math, and where I could get the science being at this school. So anyway, at the end of the day, I settled down on business because I always wanted to support people in that. I have an engineering brain, so I think
yeah,
strategically. But I felt like that strategy, that strategic level of thinking needed to be used in the people business. So I love philosophy, sociology, anything dealing with humans because I'm a humanitarian at heart.
mhm,
And so that was kind of the story of how that went. So I went to Tech and then I went to Georgia State. And then, of course, when I moved to New York, I went to Long Island University. I took some classes there. I took some classes at Baruch. I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. And so I absolutely love to learn. So I've taken all kinds of classes. I'm always in somebody's class. I just got two certifications a couple of weeks ago because I was in class for a week with one group and in class with another week for another group. But I love to learn and I love to grow.
yeah. And that's evident in the way in which you interact with people. You're a person, from my interactions with you, we've interacted for a number of years in so many different ways, but you're a person that can be in a room and talk to anyone regardless of the level where the person is and have the people feel very um, heard and listened to because of your compassion in your heart. So how did you move into the field of what do you call it? Kind of like metaphysics. And you also have a background, you're a licensed coach with the
Yes.
Centers for Spiritual Living. I mean, this woman has everything, people. She has everything.
Yeah.
So how did you segue into those areas as well?
That's a great question. So anytime in my life, because I was married for 18 years and then I went through a divorce. And so whenever something in life would happen, I've always been a person who was seeking to understand. I always want to know not just what happened, but what role that I play in what happened. Because if I was there, then that means that I was a part of the problem or the solution. And
Mm-hmm.
I always have been a seeker in that way. Even
Mm-hmm.
after I got divorced, I took 5 years off from dating. I wanted to understand how did I show up in that relationship? What role did I play? What could I have done differently? And so that's what led me to. So as a seeker, I have always read books and, as I said, taken classes, attended workshops. But how can I be the best version of myself? And how can I really live life the way I've read that you can live it from a peaceful state of being,
Mm-hmm.
and not be worried and not be stressed. And so that's how I ended up falling into the metaphysical space. When I lived in New York, I lived in Brooklyn for many years. And while I was there, because I grew up Pentecostal in Atlanta. So I had
Mm.
this habit of going to church. I was in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday night, Wednesday nights, Friday nights. We were in church all the time, right? So when I moved to New York, I felt displaced because I didn't know where to go to church. So what I would do every Sunday is I would go to, and there are churches in New York, churches are next door to each other. So you can go to an apostolic church, you can go to a Spanish speaking, French speaking, Catholic church. They're all right there in the same blocks, right? So
Mhm.
every Sunday I get up and I go to all these different places. And some of them I didn't speak the language, but I would sit in the back of the church and feel what they were saying. And what was interesting was everybody was saying the same thing, right? Regardless of whether they were AME, CME, it didn't matter what the label was, if they were missionary Baptist, the message was love, the
Mhm.
message was peace, the message was joy. And I realized that all of us humans, this race, we're all seeking the same things. And so when I returned to Atlanta, I couldn't return to the type of churches I had gone to before who were separating themselves from each other. And so one day I read a book by Ernest Holmes called Creative Mind and Success. And when I read that book, I thought, oh my gosh, this person is speaking to my heart. These are all the questions I had. There were just so many answers. And then I couldn't get enough of the whole, so I read and I read, and then I became a licensed practitioner with the Centers for Spiritual Living, because it's 4 years of studies and you really take a deep dive into quantum theory and metaphysics. And it helped me to know how to navigate my life. And so I wanted everybody else to know they have access to that same power, to that same information, to that same life force that just, that is always everywhere present. And we always have access to it unless we opt out of it. So that's how I got in the metaphysical space. But it fits so well with my mathematical scientific background. I didn't realize that from years ago. The thing I love most about math and chemistry, that periodic chart, is that if you apply the same things, if you apply it and I apply it and a child applies it, you're going to get the same result. And so that was showing me that there's a universal principle that's always at work. And if everybody applies it in the way that it's supposed to be applied, you get desirable results. It's just the way it is. And so it doesn't matter who's on the other end of it. And I love that that means that when people say God has favor, that's actually not true. It's all based on who is applying the information and how well how applicable are the universal laws being adhered to. And so I want people to know they have access to that. And that's what makes me wake up every day, is like, oh my goodness, you're afraid, or you're overwhelmed, or you have anxiety, or you feel all these things. But guess what? Here's something that might tweak you a little bit so you can understand that life doesn't have to be that way if you're willing to, be open and to do something different. So yes.
And what I can say about you is that people come to you because they resonate with what you say and with your beautiful energy, because you're beautiful inside and out. So they resonate with you. But let me tell you, people, this petite little being here is no joke. You got to do the work. Okay, you can sit there and think that you're gonna play with the fingers and stuff because she has that endearing energy, but she's gonna make you do the work. And that's what I love about her, because she brings you back to who you really are. You're God being in expression, and she has you always come back to that knowledge and that information and that knowing. And it's not judgmental. She's never judgmental. It's not harsh. And she just gets to you where there's like a little disconnect, because when we're not in alignment, we're disconnected from spirit. And I know she deals with high profile professionals and people like myself, because here, I'm a therapist and I think I'm pretty good at what I do, and I have clients and all that. So we need people to talk to.
Yeah.
And you have to have someone whom you trust, because in this field, you can't just talk to any and everybody. The next thing you know, you're on TikTok. You're like, I ain't get that. Put your business out on TikTok. So with this professional person here, who's a life coach and who is a practitioner, you know that it's kept within the confines of the space where she's providing the service, and you don't feel like she's talking down to you. She's meeting you where you are. And I just so love that. And she went to the Louise Hay School to training certification program. So those of you who are aware of Louise Hay, Coach Greta has gone through her institute and has applied this. So let's have an example of someone whom you coached. And at first, the person, I know several situations, mine included, but what are some situations where you've coached someone who has been a little reticent, who was not on board, was a male or had male energy, and you were able to tap into that reservoir of infinite knowledge to bring out the truth of who the person was? Because the person came to you wobbly, not sure of who he or she was, or was allowing someone else to define him or her, and you just said no.
Yeah.
I know you've done it with me when I had some valley experiences. I was, Coach Greta, I need some help. I'm
Yeah.
stuck.
Yes, I once had a client who came to me. I don't know how he found me. Um,
And talk up a little louder, beloved. Yeah.
okay. I once had a client. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I once had a client who found me, and he got on my calendar, and actually met him in person. This was right before COVID, and he said, I don't know what it was when I Googled, he just Googled wanted a coach, and I came up, and so we met. And he said, I am afraid that one day I'm going to be living under a bridge and homeless. And so we did some exploration, and of course, he is an extremely intelligent man, graduated in the top of his class. He was in the top of his class in college and in the top of his class getting his master's. I mean, he was extremely successful. But he had this underlying fear that he was going to lose everything and one day not have anything. And he had been going to therapy and had gone to a few coaches, and he just said he didn't know what to do about it. And he said, your face, the way your smile that I saw on the internet just made me think you could help me. So we started working together. I told him, keep your therapist, keep your what all the things that you have, just keep those things handy. And I'm just here to assist you with whatever it is. You don't need to get rid of anything or anybody. We're going to move forward. And we did move forward. And in our moving forward, his life changed. He just, all of a sudden, so many things were happening in his life. I can tell you so many stories of different things like that. And I was just so happy. And we worked together until he felt like he could really go out there. And sometimes people work with me on a weekly basis, and then they'll go bi-weekly, and then they'll do a monthly maintenance, and then they move on. And then 3 years later, they may circle back and say, hey, I got a new challenge, or I've been using the tools that you shared with me. And so, I'm back because I need a refresh, I need to be updated or whatever. So, that's one example. I have so many. Oh my gosh, I have so many. I had a man who was referred to me, and he was a person who um, just did not think I would be able to help him because he was not a person of color.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was a favorite of women, to be honest with you. But I came highly referred. He drove from really far away to come meet me. And I was able to assist him with shifting his life to moving upward and forward in ways that he just did not have He just did not think it would be possible at all. And you know what happens when I work with people? I see them in their perfection and I never lose sight of that. And I know a lot of coaches could say that, but I don't know if people know how to move in that space. But I
Yeah.
really do see people in their total perfection. And
Yeah.
then as you said, I meet them where they are so that we can move at the pace that they need to move at, so that they can at some point see themselves in the way that with the eyes of the creator, and I live for it. I was thinking back to the very first time somebody came to me. I was in the second grade, and I was one of three Black children at my school. It was actually West Clayton, right there on Riverdale Road. I don't know if you know where West Clayton
Oh,
Elementary.
yeah. I used to live over there.
Yeah, well, I used to go to that school, and back then, Clayton County was predominantly white. So anyway, there was this young girl that came to me, and she said that in her prayers, God led her to come to me to ask me to pray with her.
Wow.
The first time somebody has ever asked me for help. So you know how the teachers let you go to the bathroom and you're in the stall. And so we were in the stall praying, but when you're 7, you don't know the time frame. And I went to a Pentecostal church, so we pray for a long time, right? So I was praying with her and praying with her, and then we got in trouble. We got sent to the office for being in the same stall, and they didn't know, whatever, whatever. So they called my parent, my mom called her mom. But the long story short is that what we were praying about ended up being resolved because we got sent to the office.
Oh,
Yeah, and because her parents got called and there was some confidential information she shared with me, but now the confidential information had to be shared. And so it was really good because she was having challenges with her stepfather, who was doing something inappropriate, but in
wow.
her coming to me, it actually, the prayer got answered. And so
Yeah.
that day forward, the reputation in school was one where, if you have a problem, go to Greta, she'll help you. And so all the way through high school, I'm so not kidding, all the way through high school, people would call me when school was over. And I always said, I don't need to know your name. And so they would come to me with challenges. Some was date rape, it was all
Wow.
kinds of things. People had bad relationships with their mother, or a bad relationship with their sibling, or all kinds of things. And it was always confidential. And I always had some word that could help them have some type of solace, and feel like they could go on, And so I've been doing what I've been doing for a really long time. It's my calling.
Mhm.
And I'm aware of that, and it's so natural, but I live for it. And it's only because I am passionate about making
Yeah.
my own life better, and I practice what I preach. And I say to some people, practice what you post. People post stuff and they don't live like that. So
Oh,
I
Coach Greta, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Repeat. I love that.
yeah.
It's,
Practice what you post. People post things and then they live a different life, and it's like,
yes.
what is
Yes.
oh yeah. But I walk it like I talk it, as the song
Yeah.
says.
You do. You do. And I do too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
See what the creator of the universe did when you were plucked from the ethers to come to be in your mother's womb to come here. You already had you already had a little agenda. Because she's so cute. She's petite, right? And I can see her as a little girl being really, really pint sized with her little agenda, with her little notebook,
Yeah.
in her hand, not physically, but it's just like, okay, people call me, so I'm gonna rise to the occasion. And with the confidence, and that's the thing that I really, really admire about you, is because you really work on people who are a little shaky, maybe in some areas, not in all areas, or maybe in all areas, and you help build up their confidence. And that's where your book is so amazing, mirror work works. When you work it,
Yes.
okay? So she has this amazing 21-day program that I have had my clients buy the book and they love it. So now we're taking you from this natural, intuitive person who's a therapist and a coach, because you were born to do this, right? And you're also very good because you deal with right and left brain things, concepts, which means you're so good in handling men as well as women. For me, I had to learn how to do that in terms of, because I'm like, this is kind of common sense. they, they don't see the world like that. And you and so for me, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just sucking in my breath because this is like common sense. But and I'm able to coach them because a lot of them, when they come to me, I said, you really need to have a male therapist. You really do. You really do. No, I tell them that you need to have a male therapist. But you're able to handle both because I've known some men who are friends of mine that you worked with. That's a gift. That's a gift that you have. And I'm just so impressed
With
with
some
it.
of them, it's so interesting. One year I just got nothing but men. It was just men that needed, they would call, hey, so and so referred me to you, so and so referred me to you. And what I started doing was instead of them meeting me in the office, because I noticed in the office they were not as forthcoming with.
Yeah.
So we would always meet somewhere outdoors and do something like waterfall hiking or something outdoors was always a really, even when it's cold, meet them outside.
Yeah.
They're in motion, and so they would share so much more. But yeah, I had a couple of years where I had mostly male clients, and so it is beautiful to see how they think, and they're very simplistic in their thinking, really.
They are. They
Yeah,
are. They
yeah,
are. But
and
they came to you because of your expertise.
yeah.
That's one level. But they came to you because oh, she's cute. She's pretty. Okay. All right. Okay. They use that as a cover because somebody that I ended up being married to told me, he used that as a cover. So it's like they saw you, and like, oh, and they thought they were faking it, but you saw that they had some real issues. You were able to get to them. They used it as a cover.
I actually had a guy who came to me because he was a womanizer and he didn't want to be anymore.
Oh, wow.
It was very profound. He was like, I have this thing with women, and he wasn't like trying to get them to come for him, but they were coming for him left and right. Oh my gosh, when we started working together, he had X number. I'm not even going to give the number. And by the time we worked through, he was down to two, but it was very interesting because he had always had that challenge that women just approach him and put themselves on him. And he wanted to know, what am I doing? And how do I don't want this to be my truth anymore.
Yeah.
So he was referred to me and we worked together and we worked through it. And he's doing so well. But yeah, yes,
Mm,
yes, yes, yes.
that is wonderful. So with your wonderful book, let's talk about your book
Mhm.
and how that I would love all of the people in the listening audience, because we have a global audience and
Yeah.
we have a lot of people who have been on the show who are coaches, and they can use this as a tool. But my goal is to have us all support each other and buy from each other and refer people to each other. We can just do this. There's no competition. There's just cooperation, right? I don't
Absolutely.
believe in competition. So
Absolutely.
we can support each other because I know for me, I have a wonderful book, my autobiography, but it doesn't touch on the points that yours touches on. And so I use it as a resource. And I tell people, you need to go to Coach Greta's website or to Amazon and get her book.
Yeah.
I refer
Thank
several
thank
people.
you. I really appreciate your referrals because, I know that a lot of your students and a lot of your clients, like they have left reviews and all of that on Amazon. And I'm so grateful for that. And if you remember, I did a precursor to this years before, And we started doing it, and every day you would say, hey, I have more names for you. Hey, I have more names for you. All the way to the end of the 21 days, you were sending like, hey, I got 3 more people. I got 8
Yeah.
more people. And so, yeah, so I ended up doing my own book because, and people have asked, well, didn't Louise do a book? And she did do a book. But you know, at the end of the day, I didn't start doing mirror work because Louise Hay popularized it. As I told you, in 1972, when I was 5 years old, I can remember being, I know people are doing the math. Yep.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that was the first time. And let me tell you why I started doing it. My mother had bought me this really nice dresser that had a big mirror on it. And it had
Mhm.
that poem about trees. I don't know if you heard, I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So every morning I would read that poem out loud, and then I read it once at night before I went to bed. And that's when I noticed the little girl in the mirror. So the reason I believe I was drawn to Louise's work years later was because I was already doing what she was teaching, right? But
Yeah.
I didn't know that lady when I started doing mirror work. I barely knew my own self. So it was natural for me. And here's the thing, I have never had one client in sales or entrepreneurship. I have trained people and coached people who own franchises and own payroll companies and the whole nine. I always introduce people to mirror work. And the reason that I always do is because it is so easy in the world we live in to outsource your issues and put it on other people.
Yeah.
Say, well, I didn't close this sale because people are discriminating against me because I'm Black, or I didn't close this sale because people are discriminating me because I'm a woman, or I didn't close this sale because of whatever it is, right? And so what I always wanted people to do and know was that you have a responsibility with your relationship with yourself, and
Mhm.
it doesn't bring in those things, which means that when I go sit in, because I've been in sales for 30 years, so when I would sit in front of somebody, I wasn't thinking of myself as a Black woman trying to get a sale. I thought of myself as bringing in a solution to a problem that somebody needed to solve. But the only reason I was able to see it that way is because of my work with mirror work, because when you look in that mirror, truly look into your soul, you
Yeah.
see the presence of the creator, you see God.
Yeah.
And because I see myself that way, then I was able to onboard and enroll lots of clients in everything that I've ever sold, because I didn't go in there trying to leave part of myself out of the room, right? I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to leave my Blackness outside the room or my femininity outside the room. I
Yeah.
was bringing my whole self to the situation. And my whole self is whole, if you understand, like I'm whole. WHOLE, I am whole. And because I feel whole, someone can see that and then they want to do business with the wholeness that they see and not the image of the person that they're looking at, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I wrote the book just because it helps people, it's a way to introduce them to themselves. And then the things that I was guided to put in mine are not like the thing, Louise did hers the way she did it, and I did mine the way I did it. But as you know, anytime there's an idea or concept in the universe, it belongs to everybody. Anybody
Yeah.
can use it, and everybody does. And there are lots of books that have the same name, like there's lots of music songs that have the same name. And we all get the downloads the way we get them. But my clients were requesting it, which is why I did it. And many of them have never heard of Louise Hay, even though I've said it 1,000 times, like they don't, and it doesn't belong to her, it belongs to the universe, if you will.
Yes. Yes. And I never knew, and I've read several of her books, that she ever even referenced mirror work. I didn't even know that. It just
Exactly.
went over my
Right.
went over my head.
Exactly.
Yeah. I only um I know I would tell my clients to hug themselves and look at themselves in the mirror and look in their eyes. Because if you can't look yourself in the mirror in the eyes, then there is an issue.
Yes.
So, but when I read your book, I said, oh my God, this is like manna from
Yeah.
heaven, because it's empowering. And what I love about it is that for each day, you have an exercise for a person to do and for the person to write.
Mm. Yeah.
Like something, for each day. So it's like you're making a note to self. It's like note to self every day. This is the little affirmation. This is what you're going to do, and this is what you're going to work on. Then through 21 days, at the end of 21 days, you're in a completely different place. And it takes about a minimum of 21 days to shift a behavior. And then what I love is that if you don't feel complete, you can keep doing it over and over and over again. It's not something that you put on the shelf and never look at it again. And like I said, my clients love it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm
Yeah,
so glad I did it. And I was like, let me go ahead and do this because people were asking, COVID happened, and I thought people are wanting access to me because I'm sure as your business, it tripled, quadrupled during COVID because people were like fiending for the stuff we've always taught and the things we've always known. But
yeah,
suddenly everybody was front and center with themselves. But I think even in there, one of the chapters is giving yourself the gift of your own attention. When people don't give themselves the gift of their own attention, then they need somebody else to fill that void. And it's like, if you're not willing to do it for yourself, if you can't look in the mirror and
yeah.
tell yourself you love yourself, I don't know why you think somebody else should be doing it for you. Like, it is just the craziest thought in the world. To me, you're outsourcing the most important. And we come here with ourselves and we're going to leave with ourselves. And then we
Very
don't
true.
give ourselves any time. It just is like, wow. And, and everything I ever have manifested in my life came as a result of mirror work. When I was in Mary Kay, I earned the use of 3 pink Cadillacs. I was using the mirror every day to do my affirmations. And I was also in the mirror talking about it. Of course, I didn't think about it at the time because, like I said, I've been doing mirror work for so long that I never think of myself as doing it, if that makes sense.
Mhm,
This
mhm.
is the mirror that I brought this to show you. This is my mirror that I use. It's in my bedroom. And I love it because I got it from like Home Goods, but it has an antique look to it, right?
Yeah,
And every day I grab this mirror and I do mirror work. And I've been doing it for so long, I don't think about it. It's not even and sometimes I'm just in the mirror, just in silence, and the tears come and the connection comes, and I allow myself to be my vulnerable self, all my versions of myself. When I have an accomplishment, I roll home and give myself high five in the mirror. If I have a day when I'm like, things just kind of went a little left, what's that about? And I sit with myself and I listen to hear the answer that is going to come to me. But I'm just so thankful for whoever created the mirrors. I've read the history of it and all that. But back before there were mirrors, there were lakes and ponds and oceans
yes.
to look into. So I just think it's just a wonderful thing. And the other thing that mirrors us is each other. Humanity mirrors, if you have a
Yes.
in your life or an inner circle, those people are mirroring you. So mirrors are always around us, whether it's with an actual mirror or whether it is through a relationship or relationships that we have. Something is always being reflected back to us to help us to be the best version of ourselves. And so, it all boils back down to the ability to learn how to love yourself. And I think when you can love yourself, you know what I always say? You don't need to change yourself. You just need to love yourself.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
because people go, oh my gosh, I need to change. I need to stop smoking. I need to stop this. No, you don't need to change those things. You just need to love yourself because then change
Yeah,
is inevitable. When you
yeah,
love yourself, you will make different choices. It's just what it is.
yeah.
When you love yourself, you will be mindful of what you say to yourself and how you say it to yourself. So you don't need to change yourself. You just need to love yourself. That's it.
I love that. And then one other song, and then I would like for you to give us a takeaway. Michael Jackson had the song, like get the man in the mirror. And I tell my clients, you're so busy trying to correct the image in the mirror, which is reflecting you. So like you said, all you need to do is just sit and be with yourself. And then the reflection in the mirror has to change
Yeah.
because it's deep work in your book is excellent. What I really, really, really admire about the book, because I just think that you're the absolute best. Okay. Absolute best. I'm very good too, people. Come see me too, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Okay.
We're
But
reflections of each other.
yeah, but the thing about it is that sometimes people are afraid to do deep work because they think they're going to be judged. And so with your book, if someone is in therapy, not in therapy, they can do the work in the quiet moments of the early morning, late evening, throughout the day, and go deeply without having someone use judgmental words like you should or shouldn't or why. You don't have to answer to anyone. Your soul is just going to give you the answer. And that in and of itself to me is so healing. And I think the book is amazing, just like you. Coach Greta is just amazing. So anyone who is desiring to have a transformational coach, anything about any of the topics we've talked about, feel free to get in touch with Coach Greta. She's going to give you the contact information, and we're going to have it at the bottom of the video, the podcast, so you can contact her directly. So Coach Greta, what are some takeaways that you would like to give our audience? And please give them your contact information.
I will definitely do that. My website is, I have two websites. One is www.centerforselfawareness.com. And also
Okay, repeat that again. And for some people, you have to spell it out too for them.
Okay, got it. www.centerforselfawareness. That's CENTERFOR, self-awareness, SELFAWARENESS.com. Or you can go to mirrorworks.com. That's MIRRORWORKWORKS.com. So mirrorworks.com or centerforselfawareness.com. You can also find me at Coach Greta on Instagram and Facebook. Just go to at Coach Greta. And I'm also on LinkedIn at Greta Counts, and also on X as Atlanta Top Coach Greta Counts. But I'm excited because you asked me to give some takeaways. For anybody who is interested in having quality of life, and you don't have to be 50 and above to want quality of life. I think we all want quality of life, meaning that we want to feel love, acceptance, compassion. We want to feel rich and healthy and prosperous. We want to feel loved and lovable, and we want to be loving. We want all those things. It all begins inside of you. There is nothing outside of you that can give you those things. There just isn't. A car can't do it. A purse can't do it. A bank full of money, bank account full of money can't do it. I know, money buys us choices, and money is so good to have. Trust me, I am all for it. But your wellness and your well-being is everything, because Steve Jobs isn't here anymore.
Right, right.
Your money isn't going to make you. And I know that it seems like it, you'll get to travel and go on and do all these things. You get to travel first class. I get that part. But if you cannot face the most important person you will ever meet in your life, yourself, if you cannot get face to face with him or her or them or they or whatever your pronouns are, then that's the problem.
Yeah.
And what I'm telling you is, once you do, if you make the decision to do it, you are going to be so elated to find that you are so freaking lovable. And there is so much to love about you. And the things don't even really matter. That the only thing that matters is that you're honoring yourself, you're honoring your soul, you're honoring your spirit, you're honoring this being that was created by the same creator that created the oceans and the galaxies. And what I want more than anything is for people to really understand how valuable they are. You are so valuable. You are so valuable. And it's not got anything to do with your bank account or the size of your house or what part of town you live in. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your ability to love yourself unconditionally. Because when you can love yourself unconditionally, then everything that is staring back at you is love. Everywhere you go. I can be in a crowd. If I walk through a door, somebody always holds the door for me.
Yeah.
Somebody always wants to give me a discount on something. Somebody always hands me something. I don't need money to take a trip because people send me tickets to go places. So when you are willing to see the love that you have been conceived in and made of, and to operate out of a loving space, everything around you is going to reflect the love that is being reflected outside of you from within. And it is the answer. I promise you, it is the answer. It is the answer, and it's everything. It is everything to have the ability to see the God presence inside of yourself. It just does. There's no amount of money for that. I promise you that.
So true.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that I can say or add to that is so profound. I told you you are going to be so impressed with this beautiful being. Told you everyone always is. So I thank you, Coach Greta, my dear beloved metaphysical, beautiful, spiritual sister friend. Thank you for being a guest and for honoring us with your presence, your knowledge, your information. And everyone, get in touch with her for her services. She speaks to corporations, individuals, couples, all of that. And she also marries people too. She can marry.
Oh, I sure do. I'm licensed to wed. So if you want to get married, I am there. I've been doing weddings every Sunday night. I don't know what's going on with this Sunday, December weddings, but I've been doing so many weddings. And get a hoodie, because loving yourself, sometimes you got to wear it on yourself to remind yourself to love yourself.
Yes. And her beautiful sweatshirt, it's beautiful, beautiful. So
The
thank
young people
you.
say they're hoodies. They call them hoodies.
Oh, hoodies.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that before, and they're like, it's a hoodie, lady. It's a hoodie. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and her beautiful hoodie. So thank you so much, Coach Greta. And we are closing out on Great Lives on the Rise. Visit Coach Greta's website and see her beautiful merchandise, her book. Order her book is on Amazon. You can also order it from her website. And also go to Great Lives on the Rise on our online shop.
and you know what? One more thing. The book is audio. I hired Linda to do the audio version of the Mirror Work book. So if you want to get it via audio, you can get an audio book as well.
That is true. And it's on Kindle as well.
Yes.
So you can get the paperback, you can get the audio version, and you can get it on Kindle. Okay? All right, beloveds, until next time, we love you. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful podcast and listening to us, and share it. Go to our YouTube channel, click on like and subscribe. Tell others about it, okay? Until next time, namaste, beloveds.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Gray Lives on the Rise, being brought to you by Jamila Sense, which is the product line of Oyende Enterprises. Jamila Sense is a 100% natural aromatherapy line that heals the mind, body, and soul. This episode of Great Lives on the Rise was intended to uplift you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. Please tell all of your friends, family members, and anyone you know who's 50 plus, who's living a vibrant life and interested in doing more and enjoying life even to its fullest. So thank you, and please subscribe, like, and comment on this video and all our videos. Thank you, and until next time, until our next podcast, namaste and be well.